Isn't that what this is about? It's all of us together. Ana Laura, Doug, Mr. Kelly, all of us together making a difference. Now, it takes a whole village, or I think it's a metropolis in this case, to put on a Nuns on the Bus event. And I want to acknowledge the ATU, the Amalgamated Transit Union. We got connected with their Washington, D.C. folks, and we realized, whoa, this is a natural connection. We're Nuns on the Bus, and they're the bus drivers, the folks who work in transit. So this is like a perfect partnership. I also want to especially acknowledge the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless that helped us with voter registration earlier today at the University of Chicago. It is fabulous because we know that so often the homeless folks are the most discouraged, the most depressed, and have the hardest time. But getting out the vote is one way to make our voices heard, as President Kelly said. And then, of course, James Adams Hull House. I have to tell you, it's a dream of mine to partner with them, because what I learned as a young sister and a young person is that social work started there. Care for the community started there. Chicago is the birthplace of this care for the broader community, and that is what we are about. So great gratitude to them. And I cannot, applause. My community, that's all social workers, I have to say, wow, it's such an honor. And then Arise, CJ, and your team, Sister Bernadine, the gang at Arise, have done amazing work to lift up the issues of hard-working people who are not getting what they worked for, who are being cheated, who are being stolen from. And what they're doing is working to make sure that that changes. What a fabulous, fabulous work. And earlier we were joined by Governor Quinn. And I was really touched by two things that Governor Quinn did. One was to be able to take copious notes. But not only take notes about what was said, because sometimes those are easy. I don't know about you, but sometimes I take notes and never read them again. But what he did was take notes, make connections, handed out his card, which I thought, whoa, and then promised follow-up. And I know the folks at Arise will hold him to it. So I hope he understands that, but I'm sure he does. Because the thing is, this is not about a partisan thing. This is all about trying to take care of the people of our state and of our nation, of our city. How do we, the people, care for each other? And that's why we're on the road. We're on the road to lift up the fact that it's not about the 99% and the 1%. Sometimes we want to create an enemy out there. Sometimes we want to say it's their fault. They're the ones. But what we've discovered is that we need everyone at the table. This morning here in Chicago, we did a business roundtable where we had 5 entrepreneurs come to the table to talk about their reality as business owners. And we heard from one guy who has an amusement thing down on the pier. And he was talking that he starts off all his workers, most of them are teenagers, he's got some folks that have been with him longer, but that he starts them off at minimum wage but tries to move them up fairly quickly. But the amazing thing is, he pays benefits to all his workers. He's got health care for all his workers. It's huge. But then you know what he told us? He told us that he'd really like to raise wages, but what he has learned is if his price for the amusement thing that he's got gets above $10 an hour, the tourists think it's too much, and revenue drops off. And what I realized in listening to him was, hey, it's also about us consumers thinking we can't just get everything for the lowest possible price. We have to be justice consumers. We have to find out, are we acting with justice when we spend our dollars? It is the 100%. It's the workers, it's the managers, it's the consumers. It's all of us together are affected by this reality. And then a few months ago, I met Jason in San Diego, and he told me that he's an entrepreneur, he pays a living wage, but he told me he was getting miffed. And I thought, miffed, you don't hear that word very often. Maybe he was just being kind because I was a sister and thought he had to clean up his language. I don't know. But what he said was he was getting miffed because while he pays a living wage, he pays benefits, he realized that his tax dollars were going to fund his competitors. And I go, what? How's that work? And he said that his competitors pay low wages. His competitors pay low wages, so they, like Doug, can use Medicaid if they're in a state where Medicaid's been expanded. But then what he said was they also can use food stamps, other social safety net program that was supposed to be for those falling through the cracks. Those programs were never intended for the working poor because we were supposed to be able to pay our own way if we worked full time and played by the rules. So he said his tax dollars are going to fund his competitors so his competitors can bid lower prices when they when they bid for contracts. That's not right. That's not just. People doing the right thing should not be penalized. We have got to make sure that our businesses are supported for doing the right thing. Unions and union organizing is a key way forward, as Doug told us. We have to make sure that our unions are supported. Our businesses doing the right thing, we've got to make sure are supported. Us consumers doing the right thing need to be sure that we're supported. That's why we're on the bus. We're on the bus to say it's about the 100%. It is all of us. All of us have to care for this amazing nation of ours. This union, which we're trying to make more perfect, and Lord knows we got a lot of work to be done. But we know it can be done. Before we've been out on the bus and we've said, oh, go talk to your congress member. Go talk to your senator. Go get somebody else to do something. This time on the bus, it's different. We're out to say, we the people can use our power. We have got to have the boldness to use our power and vote. Then we say at Network, one of our staff at Network started this, friends don't let friends vote alone. You need to make sure somebody else gets to the poll. You need to make sure that everyone is voting. You need to make sure in your apartment buildings, in your church, in your convent, wherever you are, make sure everyone is voting. Because voting is the way forward. Voting is the way we decide who we want to employ in our government. It is our chance to use our power. So on the bus, we're lifting this up. We the people, we the voters. Now we have some this is where the commercial comes in. We have some handy dandy helps for you. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. I'm a high Twitter, I love Twitter. Follow us at nunsonthebus.org. And the people over here are holding the sign. So this is cool. Nuns doing this. Can you love it? Text the word nuns, nuns, N-U-N-S, to 877-877. And we'll get you involved in our activism. Send you a reminder when it's time to vote. Make sure that you've got the resources you need. And make sure that we the people, are using our power, standing up, making a difference. Now, Chicago, you've given us a really, really, really warm welcome. And we're going to be looking at you on November 4th to see, can we make Chicago 100% voting? Think we can do that? Turn out the people. We, the people, can make it happen. Thank you, Chicago. It's fabulous, fabulous. And now I'm calling on my good buddy. You probably wonder, how did I get to Chicago? Well, we had to come to Chicago. I mean, let's be real about this. The heartland, being here, it's great. But Sister Bernadine Cargie, Cincinnati Dominican, and I've been buddies forever. And so it was one phone call to Bernadine that said, help, I need help. Could you do this? And she very quickly, after a gulp and a pause, said, oh, sure, I can do this. So thank you, Sister Bernadine. Come on up.